Sound like an old friend.
Broadcasting way too early from 3 separate Wi-Fi connections. It's PT Breakfast Club with Tony Maritato, Dave Kittle, and Jimmy McKay.
All right, welcome to PT Breakfast Club. I'm Jimmy. That's Dave. Tony is missing in action. We'll find him somewhere. He's probably reading a systematic review. You know that guy loves research. Loves it. Dave is here, but he's going to help us track trends before they're cool. That's what we're trying to do perpetually in life. That's what these social apps do, right? What's cool now? What's going to be cool 20 minutes from now? What is out? What's over? In 2026, we're looking at like a peptide rush. This is all the rage now. It's not. This is the same thing, but different. It's a different flavor. Why brands are being told to go live. Gee, I wonder who saw that trend 3 years ago. And why people are spending 50 grand on events just to post a recap video that gets 312 views, 3 comments, all from co-workers. We want to talk about that too. The trust economy is shifting. Gary Vee wrote a book about it several years ago. Seth Godin has talked about it almost ad nauseum. Consumers don't wait for permission. They don't automatically trust credentials, and they definitely don't watch recap videos. I see, especially with CSM, all the recap videos because there's CapCut. It's so easy. Just take a bunch of pictures and make a recap video. No one cares about your recap. They want to learn something unless it's funny. So the question is, are PTs adapting or defending? We'll get into it. But today we've got a new sponsor to kick things off. It's just in line with our topics today. Let's welcome to the show Authority Crunch.
More cereals. Let's go.
You got to start your day off with Authority Crunch. Authority Crunch now with 40% more credentials per serving. The only breakfast cereal fortified with advanced degrees, framed certificates, and mild professional insecurity. Each spoonful contains 12 continuing education credits and just a hint of superiority. Side effects may include correcting strangers at dinner parties and starting sentences with, well, actually. Authority Crunch, because if they don't trust you, at least they'll know you're certified. I know a lot of people in this profession are eating 2 bowls of Authority Crunch before they get going in the morning. All right, so let's talk about this peptide. Was this you or Tony?
I sent that over. I also want to float a couple hooks for today or for future episodes because there's some other topics I forgot to send over. So things that hit home to me, the things I sent are kind of like national or things that we get to talk about in terms of like live video and private practices getting more local attention or regional attention. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. So on my show, I did a solo episode recently. I had I won't say the therapist's name, but like I've talked about it a little bit online or whatever, but one of our staff physical therapists 2 weeks ago resigned because they did not want to sign a corrective action plan. So basically like we want to have like, there was a chronic history of late documentation. There were emails from me, texts from me about, hey, you saw this person 15, 20 times and there's 2 notes done. Like what's going on here? So I didn't have leverage in terms of better or more physical therapists at the time last year to replace this physical therapist. So I kept this therapist on board. I didn't fire them, right? So had to at the time. So for multiple reasons, they just didn't want to sign the corrective action plan. The reason, as an HR example, the HR corrective action plan is like, had them sign that because then they agree on every little thing, like documentation done within 24 hours, and then every other role and responsibility, they sign off on every little thing or whatever. So that's one thing to maybe tease and talk about. With that, one of my new full-time physical therapists created a video jogging in Central Park. He created a digital asset for the practice. It was never in his job description. I did not ask him to do it. We never even talked about it. He just like sent it over. So I was blown away with that. I posted that last week. That was incredible. That was awesome. He did voiceover. He's training for a half marathon coming up, I think in April or something.
Is this Wolfhammer?
This is Wolfhanger, yeah.
So
he was doing some intervals. He was running in Central Park, and it was beautiful, like the skyline and the snow on the ground. And obviously anyone like me or him, anyone that's running, like you're huffing and puffing. So he recorded it. He did a voiceover later, and then sent me the video with Also, he sent a ChatGPT caption description and the hashtags. It was literally like done for me.
There you go.
And then like let me just hit the publish button. So I go from like, and this is every practice owner watching or listening, it's like every 6 hours or every day or every, week by week, day by day, there's like these challenges and like these lows, then these highs. It's just like, it's this is the life of a business owner. With that as another hook, I was thinking, so this therapist might be, the therapist that's leaving had some good relationships with some of our clients. And we're trying to navigate the transition. The therapist had left abruptly without the normal 2 weeks notice, without what I've done. And even the therapist that came on board with us recently, he gave 4 weeks notice elsewhere and then came over to us. The therapist that left that did not want to sign the corrective action plan gave no notice, effective immediately, effective, today, which was, I think it was like February 11th. So it was like 2 weeks ago or something, 3 weeks ago. So another thing for us to talk about maybe when Tony's here is, or we can do it today or some other time.
We have to.
How can I and HQ or the practice or whatever do things to keep the relationship with our patients, which is, it doesn't matter if you're brick and mortar or if you are mobile, in terms of whether it's check-ins, it's the some admin or the practice owner or the CEO or whoever are calling in, almost like the quality assurance type calls, and not just like a text or an email, but like calling our patients and clients saying like, hey Jimmy, how's it going with Dr. Tom or whoever? Like, how's it going? Is there anything that we can help you with? Oh, you need some, I don't know, bands from Amazon, we'll send those over. Whatever. The things that we've done in the past, like, oh, it's your birthday and we have a chocolate cake coming your way with your name on it in icing and a card written by the team or whatever, something like that. So I use ChatGPT. That's another thing where you can go into kind of like anywhere from like a $50, $25 to $50 budget up to like $1,500, $2,000 budget. Paintings, engravings, memories, golf trips, like all these things that now I'm thinking of is, how do I implement this moving forward so that not if when a staff therapist leaves, but when a staff therapist leaves, how do we maintain continuity of care and attempt to try to keep that patient and client within our ecosystem instead of them leaving or having the therapist treat that patient directly, right? And now we have contractually that our therapists are not going to be, they're agreeing to not treat patients that they meet through us for X amount of years, whatever, like a non-solicitation type of thing. So I know I threw a lot at you. I also sent you last night or today a bunch of topics, and everything that I just said was, I give you no heads up on the topics, but this is live. This is the beauty of being live.
So we have to stay with this. We have to stay with this because this is emotionally charged and it's right now. So you were going through this corrective action plan, right? So first of all, you saw something that was going a way you didn't want it to go. You're the business for months. 6
months, something.
And you're like, hey, listen, and you're probably sitting there because I know you well enough to be like, okay, how can this be a win for not just the business? You got to make it a win for them too. Like, essentially, hey, what's up? Like, I see this thing that's not happening. Like, what's up? Like, that's a great first start, right? So when you tried to reach out to be like, what's up? What was sort of the response? Like, was there a response? Like, hey, you're not holding up your end of the bargain. This isn't like you're pulling the rug out or you invented a new thing to be a jerk. You're like, you're not getting your stuff done. That is quite literally the bare minimum of the job. What happened when like that sort of what's up thing?
Unfortunately, eventually there was like a little bit of accountability. There was like 25 to 50% of accountability on the staff therapist part. I approach these things through what Sturdy McKee calls like the 3 questions. So what you just said, hey, what happened? Like, hey, I noticed that you have a bunch of notes that are not completed. What happened or what's going on? What do you need from me? And how can we make sure this doesn't happen again? Those approximate 3 questions.
No, those are great. In the right order.
But exactly. So I approached it that way. So over text, over email, there was a documentation, paper trail of all this, not just phone calls. That it was basically like, oh yeah, like I'm dealing with this, that, whatever. Like, it was just excuses. Like, even if it's, I mean, listen, even if it's family stuff, this is still your job roles and responsibilities. Like, you're booking clients, you are leaving your apartment, you're going to see those patients and clients either in our office or home visit. So you're traveling to them. And then at some point you come home or during the day and you dictate or you quickly write. And we use an EMR that's one of the easiest ones on the market in terms of ease of use. So there's no excuse in terms of like why they're undone. It's just not someone that's I thought it was, but it's not our ideal team member. Someone who is fully understands and takes accountability with all the roles and responsibilities. But this one is documentation is like, you have to do this at any job at anywhere in the country. So it's not even unique to us.
So what's up? That was the first question. What was the second question? I know the third one was, how can I help? What do you need from me?
Yeah, you just said it. You just said, so what happened, or hey, what's going on?
When you were on What's Up, was like, because this is where being a good human and being a good like business owner like cross, which is like being a good human is like, is everything okay? Because that person might come back to you and be like, my spouse is sick, or I'm sick, or my mom died, and that explains quite literally everything. Maybe they didn't want to talk about it. Maybe they're like, I can power through. Maybe they're like scared, like this is my job. But like the last part of their day is falling off. You don't know. That's the lesson. You don't know. So step one, brilliant for Sturdy, brilliant for you doing this. It's just like, what's going on? Like, I see this. Am I seeing this right? Maybe it's a computer issue. They're hitting, I'm making this up. They're hitting submit. It's not going through. And you're like, oh, dude, my bad. I thought I was doing the thing. And you're like, got it. Problem solved. Now we're still cool. Because you're treading on emotional social capital at this point. Because they're like, is Dave a dick? And you're like, hey, man, I'm trying to run a business that you're getting paid out of. So if this ship goes down, you're getting wet too, my friend. So like that's step one. So like you got like 25% ownership. Like essentially it was like a brush off. Like either they didn't want to talk about it or they were like, you spotted me. I was coaching. Now I'm sort of my hands in the cookie jar. My hands, I'm not doing the notes. So then step two is like, what do you need from me? Like, do you need to like logistics? Like, do you need to learn how to use the AI better? Because we're now in 2026 and this should be 4.5 minutes per session or something.
Right. Exactly. In terms of how they would answer what happened or what's going on, it was kind of like a little wishy-washy. There wasn't like even, oh, I forgot or my bad, or like it wasn't like confronted directly. But then on the second question of like, what do you need from me is a great, especially for this scenario, it's a great question because you, Jimmy, you and everyone else watching or listening, like we know this. No one is going to help you with your documentation. Why is that, Jimmy?
Because it's your job.
Because it's your documentation.
Now, if there's an issue, like how can I help? The thing doesn't right. That's something someone else could help with. But like you jumping in the pilot seat and powering through, that's what the money's for. Right.
So there was no acceptance of ownership. My help. Well, there was no acceptance of the second answer of what do you need from me, because they were smart enough to realize it's almost not that it's a trap question, but it's like, that I can't help you because you did the visits, you met the patients, you treated I don't know what's in your head. So I literally can't help you co-pilot your documentation. I can't help you write it.
Right.
We talked about using ChatGPT without patients' names, and you could do a dictated brain dump of the visit and then say, write this up for me in a formal SOAP note, and ChatGPT does it in 30 seconds or whatever. Right. So it's very, very easy. There is no excuse. Nothing. Then you could just, if you could copy and paste the ChatGPT SOAP note into the 4 sections of the SOAP inside of the medical record. Very easy. So very simple.
Did you even get to question 3, which is how do we have this? Like, it's not like how do we stop this from happening again? You didn't even know if it was from where you were looking. It's just going to keep happening. There was no acceptance of the problem. Like,
there was no acceptance. There was no firm accountability of, this is what I'm going to do moving forward. I'm going to make sure that every note is done within 24 to 48 hours. This is, by the way, this is just what a lot of businesses, I don't know how it was when you were at Fox Rehab, but this is what most businesses have therapists and team members sign in terms of acknowledging your roles. No, just initially when you join a company, like here's your roles and responsibilities, right?
That is step one in communications, which is like make sure we're both on the same page. Because if you think I'm supposed to do 1, 2, 3, and I think I'm supposed to do 1, 2, I'm not going to do 3 because it's not expected. But you're like, hey man, like Fox, and this is the only organization I worked in long term. They had an entire department for quality assurance. Like they had these things that you're talking about, like quadruple redundancy program, because they were like, this is the product. So they had teams of people and procedures for these things, as I'm sure other organizations do as well.
Yeah. So in terms of what do you need from me, it's a good question, but in this case, it's like, it's not like if there was a challenging patient or client that, I don't know, said something offensive to a therapist, that's when the therapist does need me or someone on my team to kind of be there to help support them through it. Maybe we need to fire the patient or client. Like we've done that before. Yeah. They're not professional. Maybe they have some mental health component where they're just not able to participate fully in our style of in-home physical therapy, whatever it is. So in those situations, we're there for you. This is a topic with individual documentation. Hey, what do you need from me? Like I went through the 3-question process on purpose because it's just good for me to do reps on it. But there's no owner that like we have the easiest EMR basically on the market for soap
all
notes.
Your visits being recorded.
You have all your the visits being recorded was only since January or like mid-January. So that's new.
What I mean is like you have an audio version of it to like make it to help you get your notes done. Like you are quite literally handing them all the tools. You're not handing them axes, you're handing them chainsaws. And you're like, I want you to get your job done. I want you to not be bogged down by this so you can be you with a great personality because that's the service. And they're still not okay. It was still not okay. Were they just mentally checked out and this was them quiet quitting?
The thing that it could be, the thing that doesn't make sense is this was throughout 2025, by the way. This was like this was like summer of 2025. So this was way overdue. During summer 2025 I did an episode just on my own on my show about showing like a screen share of a spreadsheet that I used with the staff therapist. I did the episode with Dr. Ben Boggy on the Dave Kittle show, and I had a spreadsheet, and it was just like on the left column it was let me go this way. On the left column it was the patient's names, which obviously when I did the episode with Ben Boggy those were redacted, but it was the patient's names, and then on the right column it was how many visits that they had done, right? So if it was like 8 visits or 15 or 10 or 4 or whatever. And in the beginning of 2025, this therapist was like all green. Like it was like 8, 10, 15, like 20, like full plans of care. People were achieving the results and the outcomes that they wanted to initially. And then throughout like either late spring or into the summer of 2025, it was like 1 visit, 3 visits, 2 visits, 1 visit, 4 visits, 6 visits, 1 visit, 2 visits. It was like
they're batting average.
People were dropping off. So then on the spreadsheet, it was like red. And then it was like, 23 visits, awesome, like amazing. And then 2 visits. It was just so it was like a lot of red. It wasn't 100% red, but it was a lot of red in terms of people not completing their plans of care. At that point, the therapist was. And this is very easy for many practice owners to fall into the trap. The therapist was saying, I need more new patients.
Right. So let's give him more.
And I'm looking at the spreadsheet and I'm like, this is a leaky bucket. You are the leaky bucket. Right. Yeah. So if I put more new patients into the leaky bucket, what happens on based off of the percentages of the spreadsheet that I'm looking at?
More misses.
Right. So there were documentation issues happening around this time when they had a little bit more gaps in their schedule because patients were dropping off. That's the crazy thing, which is they had extra time to do the documentation then. So there is literally no explanation.
We'll go full baseball because you're a baseball guy. This is somebody who had a great average and was getting on base, and then all of a sudden something happened. and we don't know what. It's also maybe
still
not.
don't, still don't. Still could be personal. Yeah, we don't know.
Personal, could just be whatever. And then their average dipped, and then their answer was, I need more bats. And you're like, yes, but I need to know what's going on. I need you in the cage, or I need you to talk to me in the dugout first. I need to know why you're not hitting. Are you injured? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like
you want to be on this team.
If there's a bad hitch in the swing, right? You're rolling over. You're rolling over. You're hitting like little ground balls at the third baseman. You're rolling over, and everything that you hit is a ground ball. You're out, right? And that's like saying, I need to go into the cage and keep swinging this way.
Correct.
Like without making corrections, without making changes. I just want to go into the cage. I need more reps in the cage, and I'm going to just keep rolling over, hitting little dinky ground balls in the third base.
Wrong way. You don't need more reps doing it the wrong way. That's not what we need. So
exactly.
I need you to tell me what's wrong. Do you need more? We have a hitting coach. Are you using them? No. Oh, okay. So you just need more at bats. No, those are my at bats. You earn those. You earn at bats. Huh. All right. And then all right. Well, you gave me a plan though. So then what happened?
Exactly. Okay. So now, there was some other things where I took an existing patient from that therapist's calendar, census, whatever, because the previous 5 or 6 weeks, when I covered this patient in December for him, he was away. I covered this patient and I treated the patient Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 3 weeks in December. This therapist comes back right around Christmas when we left town. So then they come back. And so between the time of December 25th until when I took this patient away from him, it was about 5 weeks. And there were no weeks where he treated this patient 3 times a week. Now, the patient wanted this amount of time 3 times a week. They clinically need it. The family is okay paying for it. The home health aide welcomes it. There was no resistance. Like this person needed it, wanted it. They're paying out of pocket for it. And he's not doing what I was just covering and what the plan was initially, right? So what's the plan from the evaluation or the recent progress note? It's this person needs, this level of treatment, this level of accountability and help. They're welcoming it. They're not resistant at all. There is literally no reason why. And so we're looking, and I go, so a lot of these weeks you saw this patient like once or twice. And I said, even last week. So I was like, last week it was, at the time it was January, was it February? No, it was January 21st. So January 21st, I think was a Wednesday. And I'm like, what about last week? You only saw this patient one time on Wednesday. Like what happened on Monday and Friday? He was working a part-time job somewhere else. And he said, I can't even believe that he admitted this, Jimmy. I was working at my other job and I was covering other physical therapists there.
Jay.
And I'm like, so I take this patient. The new therapist actually lives 2 blocks away from this patient. He lives 53 minutes away from this patient via the subway. So I go, okay, this new patient, I'm now moving this client of ours that's existing, that they're moving over to this other new physical therapist calendar, effective today, tomorrow, whatever, like effective immediately. He's going to take them over. Right to jail.
Right to jail.
What was it? What was this meme? What was this from? SNL?
This is from Parks and Rec. It's
Parks.
Parks and Rec is underrated. This is jail. Immediately to jail. Also jail. Go to jail. You go to jail. No, you're off. This is where if you were a baseball coach, if you only had 9 players and you're like, but I need to keep the guy on, you start batting with 8 people and you take an out in 3 innings. Sorry.
This is when you put 2 outfielders in left center and right center, and you play 2 outfielders.
You make the second baseman play a little shallow. So this is sending a signal to everybody who's on your team. Although, I mean, it still is. I mean, I don't know if the rest of your team can see this because you are like concierge and you're not huddling every day, right? These people, the rest of the team might not know this, right?
Some of them know it.
Gotta go. So I mean, you did, but and it's easy for me to say because it's like whatever. But man, jail, immediately to jail, right to jail.
Yeah. Now, of course, there's California is one of the most restrictive, protective states for employees, and New York is, I don't know, probably right after that, maybe in the top 5 or so. But so he was a W-2, although was then going from still a W-2, but was working full time with us. Then was like part time because I'm like, oh yeah, oh you're working for this other place. Why? Because they had extra time in their schedule. They were W-2, but they were paid like per visit, if that makes sense. So when they were the leaky bucket and they were having drop offs, now they have open spots on their calendar. So now they're making less money.
No.
And then they sought more work elsewhere that was like a little bit of a steady hourly or part-time salary, whatever compensation at some other place.
No. You're shitty at your job here. Now you want to go be shitty at someone else's job? Good. Go be shitty full-time there.
Right. So now I have, fast forward now to like January into February. So now I have leverage, right? So I have the full-time physical therapist. He's, has a complete full schedule. I also had a new physical therapist moving forward. Him, the newer one, and moving forward are basically like contractually obligated, like the ones that have like the base salary plus the upside performance pay. They sign a non-moonlighting agreement or contract, meaning there's a base salary for you plus the upside of performance pay, and so therefore you can't do Luna, or you can't do any side gigs. You can't go work part-time, or you can't work somewhere else. You can't have, sometimes patients will be like, hey, can I just pay you directly? Like, cause this is kind of expensive. Can I just pay you directly? Like,
right.
That's another thing with the recording, right? So they know that they're not able to do that moving forward. The therapist that we're talking about that had the issues, I did not have that in place. So, it's a learning point. But anyway, we're learning as we go.
So this person is gone. This person has been separated.
Yeah, I think it was like February 11th or so was the resignation. I emailed back immediately. I accept your resignation because it just for business owners, especially W-2. Of course, like if they are justified in being terminated, then we should terminate them. But it's so much easier for someone like to not have it be in court or lawyers or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's so much easier to have the W-2 resign on their own terms instead of us terminate them. So here's the thing. So I had all the paper trail of the documentation of the email saying, hey, this person's late. You saw this person 10, 15 times. There's 2 notes done. Like, what's going on? What happened? Whatever. So the next step via my HR person, the next step in that was get them to sign this corrective action plan. Then now the plan is we're going to review this every 2 to 4 weeks or whatever, and we're going to look at your documentation. And if you don't do this in a certain timeline, I forget whatever the future timeline would have been, like the next month or whatever, the next month or two, can't be more than 30, 60, 90 days. And if the documentation is not timely at that point, then I would have all the calls in the world to terminate them. They know that. They understood why I was having them sign the game. They understood why I was having them sign the corrective action plan. And so they didn't sign it. How would you, I know that I have certain words around this, but how would you describe that? Like someone who knew what's going on,
yeah, and
they didn't want to sign it. How would you frame that or describe that?
Copping out, like, I don't know, what's coming, and you're like, hey, well, I'm gonna be a 3-year-old and lay an aisle. I'm just gonna lay down on the floor, and you're gonna have to drag me. I'm not gonna walk. So I'll buy an extra week. I don't know. I'll get paid an extra week. Ben, as always, has nothing to say. He told me when I asked him if he wanted to be a guest co-host, and then he drops novels like this. Ben says it's bigger than patience. This is business 101 for businesses that rely on LTV and multi-year value, lifetime value. It's better off to focus on customer success and account management, farming, getting patients the right way, word of mouth, than it is to consistently spend time and energy and cost to bring in new contracts and let current contracts not reach max potential or worse, churn. Yes, all of those things. Yes, correct. Yeah. Correct. Ugh. I mean, we could guess, but like, if you don't want to be on the team, like, I don't want you here. Like, that's good. I agree with you. I'm not fighting you. I can't motivate you to want to do this. You either like doing this or you don't. That's on you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly what my business coach Sturdy McKee had said, but it's kind of like there's just some folks out there that what's the saying? I always say it I think a lot of people say it improperly. The saying about like you want to have your cake and eat it too. There's like a certain way to say it. I don't know if that's the saying.
It is.
So it's like some people want
they eat it too, which I would always say, why do I have cake then? But keep going.
Yeah, what's the saying?
The saying is you can't have your cake and eat it too. An idiom meaning you can't simultaneously possess and consume at the same time. It signifies that one cannot enjoy two incompatible, desirable outcomes at once. You must make a choice. Once the cake is eaten, it is gone, and you cannot keep it. I understand that idiom less now than I did 14 seconds ago.
Sorry for making you look it up.
Then don't give me cake if I can't eat it. I want to look at it.
So the easy way to describe it is like, for this physical therapist, they wanted to get paid a premium and get visits dropped into their lap, which is the bit like that's what they sign up for to like we do the marketing and we do the onboarding and all that. But then they didn't want to do everything that's required. Like they didn't want to do the notes. They just didn't want to do the notes.
Say the minimum, like doing notes. No offense, is the minimum. John is saying I would definitely need a fat stack of cheese. I love how he's just dropping idioms. Like where is idiom day to sign some exclusivity contract of employment. I would definitely want. So I sort of agree.
John,
I feel. My question is, if Gary V ran this, he would say, if you want to work at night, go work somewhere else. As long as you're crushing this, because at some point, if you're like, I like my own version better, I want you to leave. Like Gary V's approach is more in line with what John's saying. I'm not saying neither is right or wrong, but like, I agree. So if I'm doing everything right, like if I'm crushing my job at the radio station, the rule was you just can't work at a radio station in this market. Like you have to drive 90 miles that way. But my pushback always was I'm doing the maximum and I'm getting no raise over time. Like we need to have an agreement here. I watched an Alex Hormozy video the other day. The guy's, he does like the sort of almost like what stand-up comedians do. He has like the business in-person thing where people stand up and they give their biggest question. Then
his workshop. Yeah.
And it's a great content for him. And the guy was like, I don't know how to keep people. He was like in pest spraying on houses or whatever. He's like, we get great people, we promote them, and then they leave. And the guy was like, put more rungs on. And Alex was like, put more rungs on the ladder. So every position you have a junior, normal, senior, and make sure they get paid for it. Otherwise, they're right to leave. You're not giving them opportunities. This isn't that. They weren't doing the minimum of the job. And then they were like, instead of doing one good job, they're like, if I half-ass two jobs, that's one job. I got to be honest, that's more work, right? Like now I got to like do two different email addresses and I got to no, just do one job really well. But this person for some reason did not want to be there, didn't like it or something. And if they don't like your setup, leave. Like you wouldn't want them there. Like at all. I wouldn't. I agree. Right. But then you also, let's go back to the flip side. You got one dude who you just hired who's making videos you didn't ask him to, and being like, hey, look, like, is this good? Like what they're doing, in my opinion, is they're like, is this good? Is this good? If I do this, does this help me? Does this help us? I don't know. That second employee sounds like they understand that they're in the boat. And if the boat goes faster, we all go faster. And I like people like that. I would take those people. This was a previous episode I think Tony and I did, which is like, I'll take B- skill and A effort over A+ skill, but C effort. Like I'd rather be in a room, in an escape room or whatever, with a bunch of people who are just going to hustle, that are like, they're pretty good at this stuff, rather than a genius who's a dick in the corner being like, well, I'll help when I feel like it. Like, I don't need you. You're gone. I'll play a man. I play in, adult 40-year-old dude hockey games. I would rather play with one less guy on the ice. We do better on a penalty kill when we have people who really want to be there. We score more with less people when we have one shitty person less.
How about that?
What?
How about that?
I look around, I'm like, how'd that just work? I'm like, because we're all paying attention. Instead of like, one Eeyore can kill your power play. One email
Yes.
can kill everything.
To Nate, the producer, to remix this for the Dave Kittle Show, that might be the thumbnail or the episode title.
Do you want the story that goes with this?
Of course.
So there's 4 radio stations in a building. Okay, that's like how radio got consolidated. So this way we share a receptionist and share HR. So there were 4 radio stations in the building. I got to run one of them at like 25 years old. So I'm running the rock station. There's rock, pop, adult contemporary, country. But we're owned by this big, huge company, Cumulus Broadcasting. And it comes down one day. My boss calls me in his office. He goes, "Hey, Jimmy." I'm like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "You have to go home tonight and come back and tell me which person on your team to fire." And I was like, "What happened?" He's like, "Nothing. It's just you have the largest staff. It's just the chopping block is yours today. In 8 months, it's going to be someone else's." So I'm like, "This is stupid." He's like, "It's not my thing. It came from up top." Okay. So I go home, have a couple of Chardonnays, and I'm like, I'm like arguing with myself. I'm arguing with with clouds. I'm like, this is dumb. This is a dumb situation. Nobody on my team did anything wrong, and they're getting fired tomorrow, and I have to pick who it is. This sucks for me. This sucks for them. I'm going to ruin someone's life tomorrow. And then I had an idea. So I walk into my boss's office, a little hungover, and I go, "Bill, got a crazy idea." And he's accustomed to me saying that, obviously, because I have a lot of crazy ideas. And he goes, "Jimmy, it's not time for crazy ideas. I need a name. Just a name. Don't be creative. Just be logical now." And I was like, "Close the door." If we close the door. The guy who had his office next to me ran the country station. And nice guy, Eeyore. He had the same job as me, made the same money as me, which is more than my people, and was an Eeyore. And I was like, that guy's running that station. It is going nowhere for the last 3 years. Fire him. I'll do his job. My people are safe. And now you get a guy who gives a shit running 2 radio stations. And he goes, "But you don't know anything about country radio stations." I go, "I don't know anything about." I could name 3 country artists at that time. Still can't. I go, You have a staff full of people who know country music. I know people, and I know creativity, and I know hustle. So now you're gonna fire that dude. You're gonna give me a raise, and I fire nobody. And so all of a sudden, by 5:00 that day, that guy got fired. And I have no problem saying it out loud. I got him fired because I protected my people, because they did nothing wrong, and he was. And he was bringing all of us down, because collectively, all 4 radio stations are individual. We're all part of the company. I was like, that guy's dragging us down. I'll play 2 positions if I have to. I'll play first base and second base. That guy sucks. You can't trust him. And the guy was out. And nobody on my
So your team was pulling their weight,
correct,
and he wasn't.
Correct. And
so moral of the story is what?
Don't fuck with Jimmy. No. No, the moral of the story was, and again, him not pulling his weight was my opinion. But when I brought it up to my boss, what did he do? He brought it up to his boss. And they looked at the numbers and they were like, "He's right. Sorry, dude. Have a better attitude. Like, hustle, fail lots. Like, that's one thing you get with me. I will fail a lot, and I'll be like, oh man, I thought that was going to succeed. On to the next thing. Here we go. Let's do it again. No one cares. Keep going." But that's how I got my second radio station. And I ran 2 radio stations at the same time for 6 years. But I said to those new people, "Hi, I'm Jimmy. I'm running a radio station. I can't name 3 country artists. It's not my job. My job is to help you do your job." And they were like, "Cool." I'm like, "This is your radio station now. I just have the name on the door," which means I get all of the blame, and I give you all of the credit if we succeed. All the blame if we fail, all the credit if we succeed. And we did.
Like a quarterback.
I take all the blame, right? And then if we succeed, it's because my receivers and my line and my running back, right? But that guy was an Eeyore. You lost dead weight. It's just messy in the wait period. 3 weeks from now, you're gonna be like, "Oh man, this ship is lighter and faster."
Right.
It's going to balance out. It is, in my opinion. Here's another. So let me play sturdy for a second. I don't know if I can do sturdy. Sturdy's like way too calm. I can't fake that. He's very chill.
He chills me out, man. We do 3 calls a month, and it's like business. It's like business. It's like business therapy for me.
I would love to just have, whenever you're on a call with Sturdy, just have his heart rate be visible, because it's like 12. Anyway, Sturdy's very chill, which is good, right? So let me play my inner Sturdy, Dave. So you've gone through this experience. It's a good one. Learning. How do you screen for this type of person before you hire them again? This is where I get because
maybe we can riff on some stuff. I think it might be tough to identify someone who would lack in documentation. Because even if I said,
this isn't a documentation issue. This is
I'm not sure. I don't know if I have complete clarity yet on how to identify it, because with everything else they said all the right things. Oh, they came from another country, but that had like a busy metro area that was similar to Manhattan, and they understood the high net worth individual type like that, and then clinically they treated me, so like they put their hands on me at the evaluation, so like they pass a lot of the other checkpoints. All the other checkpoints.
Wait, these are new details. They said they were used to this. They said it. You had no other reason. You're like, all right, I'm believing you.
How am I supposed to confirm that? Yeah.
You can't. You have to take so many leaps of faith. Like, you could get all the data you want, but it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be some gaps in it. Like you said, you could do this. There's no way to do that. I mean, sorry, I won't say that. There are probably ways to do it. None of them are perfect. None of them are right. But I mean, I learned this question from Jamie Schreier, which was a power move too, on the interview. Hey, if you were to leave in 3 years, what do you think the reason would be?
I love that question from him.
That's a good question, because it puts him in a future state. It's not what's your greatest weakness. It's like, oh, I'd really want to like run a borough or something, and you're like, oh, we don't have that structure, but if I built that would be great, or something. They're gonna tip their hand and show you what they value. If you said, what do you value, they're gonna give you a bullshit answer, because that's a bullshit question. But if you were to leave, or hey, in 10 years, if we were to sell this, what do you think this practice might look like? And they're like, and that might be too big of a question. That's too future state. John thinks I pulled a Machiavelli move. I'm going to go Google Machiavelli to see if that's a compliment or not. I don't know. I think he was like a thinker or something. I think I read a book with him. Didn't you say?
Who's got a casting couch?
You. When you're interviewing these people, are you casting couching? Come in, sit down right here. Don't Google kids. Don't Google casting couch. It's not good.
No.
We didn't come into this 42 minutes ago thinking we had like 9 other things. This is better because this is real. And if you're facing this, chances are 4,000 other practice owners have already faced it. Some are facing it right now, and some will be facing this. Like, this is not uncommon.
Let's finish up with the time that we have. So my game plan now, because this therapist was with me for close to 2 years, at least a year and a half, and built a lot of relationships with certain patients. Now, some patients like aren't going to continue. They didn't need more therapy. Some of them were transitioning them over to other therapists. But some of the patients, I could hear, like, they were like, oh, I really liked him, and this is that, and oh man, this. So the thing that I'm now working on is, how can we do not just the boring, monotonous, like, this is like a quality assurance call from Concierge Pain Relief HQ, but Sturdy framed it this way. Hey, Dave, when you go to a restaurant and the chef comes out of the kitchen and comes over to your table and says, hey, I'm Chef John, whatever, like, how is everything this evening? Now, when the manager does it, it's like, yeah, that's a nice thing. When the chef does it, Jimmy, do you feel any different?
I do, yeah, because like the chef, he's stopping what he's doing to come to me, and like, this is the guy making it, and I'm sort of like, I don't know, I feel different. They're wearing white, feels official.
Right. Now, Jimmy, imagine that the chef comes over to your table and says, hey, Jimmy and Jimmy's family and friends, how is everything tonight? Like, what if he knew your name?
That's different.
So the point, that's how Sturdy framed it with me, which is, we should be making intermittent calls, but not like corporate quality assurance calls.
No, like,
but check-ins and maybe some little gifts, and like, it doesn't take that much money, but like things to send them. And
go one step further. If the chef didn't say, so how was everything is normal. How was that steak? Was that okay? Because we tried something different tonight. I want to make sure you like it. That's different. That gets them on a particular path. That's a different question. Was there anything? Because like, no one's going to, unless something is horrible, who's going to look at the chef in the eye and be like, your mashed potatoes, dude? They sucked. Like, unless they were
right.
Like my dad is like is a typical cliche New York City fireman. He'll bitch to me, steak sucks. Chef comes out, everything's great. And my dad is not an afraid person, but he doesn't seek to harm. So like what you're looking to do is get real feedback, and that's simple, not easy. So I would steal, how do things outside of healthcare or restaurants do it? Because the chef standing in front of you is different than a random number. First of all, you're going to get a human being to pick up a phone from a number they don't know in 2026. That's hard. Sending a survey is sterile. I don't know the answer, but this could be great to farm out if anybody has a great way to do it, which is how do you get good feedback in a scenario like this? Because it's not in a clinic. Like your front desk saying, how was everything? That's just like part of the procedure. Here's the total, swipe your card. Here's the receipt. How was everything? It now loses its pop because now it's part of the script. I understand scripting things, but if it doesn't feel real, that's simple, not easy. I'm sure there's some there's always literature on this and how to do it. I just like to steal when do I feel comfortable giving like good, real feedback? Like even like when you buy something on Facebook Marketplace, it's like, how is the seller? I'm like, I don't know, great. Unless it's freaking terrible and I felt like the guy was going to axe murder me. I sort of just go like 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. Like, I don't know. I don't want to piss the guy off. I don't know.
Now another way for us to, I think it's fairly objective that like, I'll kick it back to you. With people that end up spending a lot of time and money with us, meaning they stay for, they initially come to us for like a little episodic thing, but if they stay for months or years, or they end up spending thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, would you agree that that's kind of like an objective measure that they love the service? They might love the therapist only, but they might like the service in terms of like the quality and the promptness and
those are the most objective ones, time and money.
Okay.
Like, show me something more personal.
Okay. So one example, I can't mention the name obviously, but we have a client, and I've said this a little bit before, but like it almost like, I know that most people won't believe this, and that's totally fine, but we have a client that started in July of 2024. So now we're in 2026. So this July would be 2 full years. We're not even at 2 full years. And this guy has spent, and this is going to sound like a humble brag, maybe it is. This guy has spent over $73,000 with us in less. Right.
30 grand, 30 and change. Wow.
Right.
How many times a week are you going? Is someone going there? Like 5?
Well, initially it was a lot more. Initially it was maybe 4 or 5 days a week. Now it's like 2 or 3. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because I spoke to this client that I initially evaluated, but then the therapist that we were having problems with, that therapist and this client built rapport and relationship. And when I called this client to let them know what was occurring, what happened, I didn't have any, there was no notice, and this therapist is leaving abruptly. The client was like, oh, I really like them, and blah, blah, blah. And I could hear the tonality. And I already knew this because when I covered for this therapist, when I treated this client in December to cover for this therapist when the therapist was away, that same client was like, when is so-and-so coming back? When is it Monday? Are they going to be ready for this upcoming Monday at 9 a.m.? Are they going to be coming in? Are they coming back from their trip? How is their trip going? How are they doing? And I'm like, wow, it's a lot. Like, I'm like, the therapist kind of built such a relationship with this client. I'm using ChatGPT now to say, how can I avoid, like, I want a legit relationship to be built between my clients and my therapist. But at the same time, I have a plan to do things externally that tries to keep, obviously, it's good for goodwill. It's good for, financial consistency to, if we capture that patient and client, they love us, they want to continue with us. We want the relationship to also be with the brand and the practice, not just with the therapist. Because I said to Sturdy McKee, I was like, so if my therapists leave, and he's like, when your therapists leave, like, just like you said, Jamie Schreier, like, therapists will leave for different reasons, for a lot of different reasons. They might move. They have their spouses in the military, like, things just happen. Like, people have to leave and move. So what can we do behind the scenes? And this is what I'm working on right now, which is what can we do behind the scenes to maintain a relationship with the client that's separate from the in-person treatment relationship? So it's surprise and delight things, it's shock and awe, it's sending them unique, maybe it's little figurines or sculptures. Like let's just say like this thing's a globe, and let's just say like someone's like a world traveler and it's got their name engraved on it, or whatever, something that's unique and memorable, or golf, around a golf for someone who's was going from a lot of pain to getting back into golf or whatever it is. So whether it's unique items or special experiences. And when I called this one particular client that has spent over $73,000 with us, when I first called them, I said, hey, by the way, we're going to talk about this therapist situation, but your 80th birthday is October 29th. And I already told this therapist that we were going to plan a luncheon for you. We're going to handle all of the logistics. We're going to do a little, little birthday party 2 or 3 weeks before or after your 80th birthday. So he's 79 years old. And I'm talking about something that, now this is like genuine. I mentioned this to the therapist and all this before the therapist left, before it got soiled and all that. So we are actually going to do this. Like nothing big, like a luncheon somewhere nearby the client's place. Like, so it's not like a burden to them, but we'll get whatever cake and balloons, and we'll make like a little birthday luncheon or whatever for this client, because it's good to do. Maybe we'll get word of mouth referrals from it. It's going to make the client feel good and like they're working with the right practice. And it's a memorable experience. Like how many clients at Fox Rehab are getting, full on lunches or parties for a 70 or 80 or 90-year-old milestone? Probably, maybe Fox does it here and there, but probably not that often, right?
They'll do something. Yeah, they'll do something. They do. Usually it's clinician driven. The clinician will be like, I see you.
And the clinician has like a budget or something from the company?
I can't remember. Usually if they ask and they have a good thing, Fox is like, do it. Like Fox was like, if you give me half of got it, do it. Like almost like the guy from Zappos. It was like, this problem is less than $500. Just do it. Do it.
Yeah. I know we don't have a lot of time left, but I was just saying these are the things I'm working on right now to make sure that we keep a relationship with our clients that's tied to, but not necessarily connected to, our staff physical therapists, whether they're there or not. Go ahead. What do you got?
Here's my next question. Dave, Ben wants you to call him. You can call in, dude. You can also
I don't think I have Ben's number. Did you have his number from when he last called?
No.
Did you save his contact?
His phone is plugged in, I believe.
Anyway. Ben, call. Can you give Jimmy a ring real quick?
Yeah, number's on the screen. It's my actual number. Don't be spamming me at 3 a.m. Oh, I took it off. My question would be, how do you do things like the lunch for the guy who dropped 70 grand? How do you identify clients who have spent 10 grand to make them become 70 grand? This is not easy. This is like, ooh, that's, how do we spot those?
Right.
I don't know the answer, but that is why we do it with 7 minutes left in the show, because that's how we get you to come back. Which is, that's what we should talk about. That's what we should do in the group chat. You have to put it in the group chat, because in 4 minutes, I will forget about this. I know how my brain works. I will never think of this idea again. But Ben, if you want to call in and talk to Dave now, you can do so. So without that.
Also, Ben, I'll send you a DM on LinkedIn. I know that's where we connected. I probably have your email somewhere, but.
Okay. All right. Well, since Ben's not calling, I feel lonely. Do you want to do parting shots?
Sure. I know we had other topics lined up. This is the beauty of live, and I threw a bunch at you. Obviously, Jimmy's an absolute pro and handled like the curveball scenario and stories perfectly. But yeah, for me, it's just the more I have these challenges in the business, the better I can tweak and make sure that they either don't happen or they happen in a different fashion, or like you learn from them and you have an action plan moving forward, whether it's identifying a better or more ideal teammate, team member, staff member, or how to, find and retain your ideal patient or client. It just takes sometimes there's like, for me, it's like, I can't always learn or improve unless I feel the pain and the scar tissue of like what happens when things go wrong.
The only way. When I was training broadcasters, we could put them in a production studio, did not go on the air, and you could play fake radio. They didn't learn anything because there was no way to fail. You can't have a kid learn how to ride a bike unless there's a chance of falling. I'm sure there's people out there who study learning. There's a lot of them. And that's it. Unless there are stakes, we don't learn. Oh, hang on. I think Ben's calling.
Let's go long.
PT Breakfast Club, you're on the air.
Am I live on the air?
Live on the air. Can you hear him okay, Dave?
It's Ben.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got for us, Ben?
This is a little outside the box, especially for what he's doing, but it's not outside the box for the industry. Like, this is where RTM, for lack of a better word, but digital health backup, creates that connection between appointments to the brand and less so to the therapist themselves. So in theory, like, let's say this high value patients are spending a ton of money and he gets them a tonal, or something nice to get a really nice experience of in between session management. And that's connected to some internal staff he has that's not the specific therapist. You'd think that maybe that would tie the patient back to like a real, really to the brand and not so much just the PT coming to their house.
Yeah.
That was my idea.
Yeah.
I love it, Ben. Can you hear me?
Yep.
That was awesome.
Yeah, make them fall in love with the coffee shop. So if your favorite barista leaves,
not the barista. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you may still like the barista and she's pretty and she went somewhere else and maybe you go there once in a while, but you've got this nice equipment in your house that was sent to you. Again, I mean, tonal is expensive, but maybe something that is it ties them to someone who checks in them daily between the appointments.
Yep.
They're getting some feedback, some nice computer vision, something where you spend a little money to get the brand tie-in more so than a trinket, but something that ties it back to I'm your physical therapy provider, and that's just the human that's coming to you. That we like the human, and you should love the human. The human's great, but the brand is great.
We brought you the human.
I love it. I love it.
Humans too that are great too. You love us. We bring you the humans.
And even if that human leaves, the central hub knows what's going on with you,
right? And
there's not going to be a drop off.
Right. Yep.
Is anyone doing that in physical therapy, Ben, or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, like a Genie. That's most hybrid programs lead with digital first, and the human part of like, hey, we're doing all this stuff every day with you digitally, and then you need to come in the clinic for 2 visits because I heard you have this kink in your neck. We need to get out. But like those visits in clinic almost become arbitrary of who you're going to see versus your care coordinator, manager, overlord, therapist group who's dealing with you on a day-to-day basis.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to get my oil changed in a couple of hours. And the last place I was going, I had my guy and he knew, hey man, you're going to need tires. And I knew he was only telling me when I needed tires. He wasn't trying to sell me tires. And I would call sometimes and be like, I can get you in when we have no openings. But like, if you show up here, I got a couple guys that can sneak you in. You want to have but I had the affiliation with the brand. And that they had my guy. If the guy left, I'd be like, oh, it sucks. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's tough. You're building a concierge brand, which is going to rely on that therapist being a great seller. And you talked about how you have scripts. Like, I get it. This is a really tough. If you were Cora, this isn't a tough solve. It's because you are specifically creating a brand to specifically create a real selling therapist. It becomes tough.
It becomes what? So you said it becomes what?
Much tougher to get brand loyalty when your brand is all about personal loyalty. Like it's tough.
Right, because you're selling one thing but asking for another. You're saying come for the people but love the static thing. This is why like Tim Cook has more followers than Apple. We follow people. So you're trying to reverse engineer that, if Tim Cook left and started making phones, I'd probably stick with Apple because you're like, I get it. Tim Cook is a representative of Apple. Does that make sense? Or am I talking in circles?
That makes sense.
No, it makes sense. And that's
so
not an easy answer.
so I can see Dave tomorrow. Free tonals if you spend 20 grand.
Well, I was just looking up because I know you and Tony were talking about the price recently. So it's like $4 grand for a tonal.
Is it?
So
yeah.
Right now, of course, they could be cheaper if they're refurbished. But I think this is a great idea because I was thinking, and Ben knows this because he's done home care and home visits and all that. There's certain, like in New York City, there's a company called Provatus. They do in-home nurse, CNA, home health aide type of service. There's someone who is delivering the core service, whoever's there for however many hours. But then there's also like a rotating nurse or like nurse case manager, whatever they call them. And they come in like every month, but just like for a brief visit, which that still would be, if I were to do something like that, that still is time and money to have a team member do that, whether it was me or someone else that was like checking in, but like trying to build like a side relationship.
Right.
And Ben's idea might actually be the same price, maybe even cheaper to deliver them something like a tonal that also helps them with movement, helps them stay, keep their progress, their gains, all that, but without the cost of an ongoing human visiting them for check-ins and like a progress report. Does that make sense, Ben?
It does, and these are people who are probably mobile and they travel, and then you also have the ability to do telehealth. You have the ability to engage them wherever they are.
Right. All right, Ben.
Other than real quick, other than tonal, is that are there other things like that, or is tonal like the best one with the technology and the?
Go with them.
No,
personalize it.
I don't know you need to go tonal, but there's stuff like it. There's mirror. There's stuff like it, but one step down would be something with computer vision, like a Chemtai product, where it's a pretty nice experience.
Hyper
yeah, I mean, there's stuff. I don't think you have to go as high as tonal.
No, you could do. I mean, Hyperice. I'm working with them. They gave me one of everything they owned because they were just like, test it out, tell us what to do, and I was like, okay. And I liked their stuff before, but now that it's in my living room, I'm like, this is cool. Like I put those stupid boots on for like 2 hours, and I'm just like, this is great. I'm recovering, and they are awesome. But yeah, make it personal to them. Like you said, if they're a golfer, it'd be great. If they're not a golfer, this is like, okay, cool. So make it personal. Listen, I think that's the answer.
Yeah, but I think this ties them to the plan of care, so
Agreed.
It's not just like a trinket of a bobblehead.
No, agreed. Yes. Yeah. But if they're a runner and then like you get them some dope running stuff, that's like double word score because it's like, oh, it's dope and it's related pointed at me.
Yeah.
But if I'm not a golfer, it's like, cool, guess I'll give this to my buddy. But yes, agreed. This is why there's a whole industry where you can spend. All right, Ben, appreciate it, man.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Ben.
There's a whole industry where like it was like employee gifts because like giving me a gift that doesn't land. So there's a thing where you can spend $1,000 and then the employee gets a magazine where everything in the magazine is under their plan. Do you know what I mean? So now it's like, I don't really know this guy well enough. I know he's great at accounting, but like now let him pick. All right. You already did your parting shot?
Yeah. Go ahead.
My parting shot would be don't be an Eeyore. No one likes an Eeyore. You might not be an Eeyore, but if you're here and you don't like it here, you're an Eeyore here. Go somewhere else where you could be a Tigger or a Poe, right? Like go somewhere else, but don't be an Eeyore. Like no one likes the Eeyores at all. We're back on Thursday. Dave's going to remind me what we're supposed to talk about next because surprisingly, I've already forgotten.
That's it. We're out.
Boys, what the hell are you doing?
Follow Tony Maritano on YouTube at Total Therapy Solution. Find Dave Kittle at ConciergePainRelief.com and on YouTube at The Dave Kittle Show. And follow Jimmy McKay at PT Pinecast on YouTube, the socials, and wherever you binge podcasts you pretend are for CEUs. And hey, just a reminder, none of this was for advice. This was for entertainment only. Our lawyers say that counts. Thanks, Keith.